All right, Jesse on fire. Welcome back. So Mondays are usually tough days for me because there's not really a lot going on Mondays normally. But this week, God handed me this story where Joe Rogan and Brian Callen were doing a fight companion for the UFC that was on this weekend on Saturday. And, with Schaub too, with Brendan Schaub. Someone I do a show with, I'm sure you guys know who Brendan Schaub is. We're doing a show this week on UFC Noche, in fact. But this particular video that we're going to show right now was Rogan and Brian Callen getting into it over the vaccine debate. And it was gold because Joe Rogan really knows his stuff. Like, Joe Rogan knows his stuff. And Brian Callen knows what the mainstream media has told him. And it's crazy. It's just like, it's not common for someone who is like dead in with mainstream narratives to find themselves in closed environments with people like Joe and like trying to defend the mainstream narrative, because it's just it's very entertaining because you're like, wow, man, like you're gonna dive into this, huh? You're sure, like you want to go on Rogan's show, and then I know they're like really good friends, right? But it's just, I've never seen someone do it before, like one of his good friends that Rogan feels totally comfortable just lighting up, like he's not gonna be like polite, right? And so we're gonna watch that together right now, and then after that we're going to discuss this gem, which is Joe Rogan under backlash from liberals after saying he believes Michelle Obama has Pizzagate is real and that the moon landing was fake. Oh, I've got some new information on that as well that we'll talk about. So because moon landing is definitely real. But anyway, so everybody, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. We're gonna handshake it, right? You're gonna watch my content. And in exchange for that, you will subscribe to the channel. And if you don't, you're like the person that takes their candy at the front of the store and it's like, leave 25 cents for muscular dystrophy. And you're like, nah. So don't be that guy. All right, let's rock and roll. Watch this. Oops.
All that. How come 1 in every 12 kids who's a boy in California has autism now? Because that's what's going on. That's what's going on in California, which has one of the strictest fucking vaccine policies. 1 in 12. Did I say vaccines cause autism? Maybe I will have
RFK's getting to that,
yeah.
And now Florida doesn't demand vaccines.
Yeah, that's dangerous to me.
Yeah. I knew you'd jump on that train.
Of course it's dangerous, Brian. What are you talking about?
All
vaccines.
So
tetanus.
No, just go down the road wrong?
You need to bail on the tetanus thing because Suzanne Humphreys.
Educate his ass.
Suzanne Humphreys explained.
That's my boy right there. Schaub all educate his ass, son. Because I was thinking the same thing. Educate this motherfucker. I personally had to go through this with Giselle, so I will give you my tetanus story right after this.
She's not a vaccinologist. I know that woman. What are you talking about? So you're saying she's a medical
doctor that absolutely understands tetanus. She said tetanus, all you have to do is keep the wound open and clean it.
Oh, that's such bullshit.
It's not bullshit.
God,
it's not bullshit. Do you know how many people die?
Yes, okay. I don't understand how people who clearly do not, you've never looked into this, obviously, because you don't know what you're talking about, because you said that's bullshit. It is not bullshit, okay? The reason that people get tetanus and the reason that they associate it with metal is because it happens when you step on a nail, and so it goes into your foot. And so the bacteria that is on the end of a rusty nail gets stuck all the way inside your foot, and you can't clean it. Okay, you can't get any kind of anything in there. You can't put Neosporin in there. You can't wash out the wound. You have to be able to clean it. So the nails, okay, and then people associated that now with like just being cut by metal. It's like, no, the reason that it's that is because it gets stuck all the way in there. If you can get and open it and clean it, you have no risk of tetanus as long as you clean it and are not dumb. It goes in there, it festers, then turns into tetanus, okay? So that's a fact. Don't tell me it's bullshit because it's not.
Have tetanus every year, very few.
What about polio? Okay, so let me ask you a question, Mr. Joe Rogan, Mr. Scientist. Are you saying that we shouldn't
do that. Don't call me Mr. Scientist. I'll start mocking you, and it's so much easier to mock you.
So are we not? So you don't believe in vaccines? You don't think we should have vaccines?
It's not that I don't believe in vaccines.
What are you saying?
It's I don't think you should give a kid a Hep B vaccine when they're a baby.
Different subject.
I don't. No, you have to, MMA vaccine is absolutely
MMR, but we're not going to break Joe's balls on that MMR vaccine, but that's fine. Mumps, measles, and rubella.
Connected to a host of serious, debilitating fucking problems that kids have gotten from them. There's a lot of problems because they don't test vaccines in a double-blind, placebo-controlled setting. They test them against other vaccines. You know that, right?
Yes, I do. Excuse me. Let me just say something. Yes, you're right. You can make the argument for Hep B. Here's why. Because the chances of a child coming in contact with the kind of activity that causes Hep B is different. So now
sexually
you say,
transmitted disease.
And all the states still mandate it, dude. Like, you're arguing two different points. This started because Florida is taking off the school mandates against of children being up to, right? Well, if you go to California, it's still mandated to get a baby a Hep B shot when you can only get it from intravenous needles and dirty sex. Hey, does that make sense? Or does that sound like something that, benefits pharmaceutical companies and not necessarily children? Okay. The tetanus thing, by the way, I stopped it right at the part where Rogan was going to talk. 1 person per year dies of tetanus. One. Okay. 1. And the reason I know that is because in 2019, maybe like early 2020, actually it was 2020 because COVID had just started. My daughter, Giselle, oldest, had gotten a cut on like a metal thing in our backyard, and I had to take her to the doctor. The doctor was very adamantly like, we need to give her a tetanus shot. And if you know anything about my background with my wife and that child in like specifically, that was not like some no big deal thing. I had to call Gabrielle. I'm like, I don't know, dude. She's saying to get it. And Gabrielle's having a complete and total like panic attack meltdown because like they had told us like, don't give vaccines to your kids, her specifically. And so we did all of this. And so I asked the doctor, I'm like, so how many people per year die of tetanus? She's like, I don't know. Why? And I was like, because it's important that I know that to make this decision. Gabrielle went and looked it up. She's like, it's 1. And I'm like, what? So I asked the doctor, I'm like, is it truly only 1 person per year dies of tetanus? And the doctor's like, yeah, but you don't want to be that one. Verbatim quote. Yeah, but you don't want to be that one. The thing is, though, it was a slice. It was not a nail that was stuck in there. So we were like, okay, but you can just clean that out, right? So we didn't get it for her, and she was fine. Okay, that doesn't mean that you should not do what your doctor tells you. Just doctors. She literally looked at me like I was a leper after I made that decision. I'm like, okay, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, crazy lady.
Right. So now you say this. That chance is 0. The chance for vaccine injury with the Hep B is not 0. It's non-zero. Okay, so I understand that math. Okay, what I'm trying to say to you is that there are certain diseases. Pick up a history book.
Let me stop him right there. So you understand that math. You understand the Hep B is they're not going to get it. So why put the risk there for them to get the vaccine if they might have something happen with that, right? Why? Right. Okay, so how are you going to do that math with another shot? Okay, like let's say, I don't know, if we just pick one at random, right? The mRNA one. How do you know what the risk assessment is for any person who is potentially going to take that shot? Well, I guess common sense would tell me that I would need to know how effective the vaccine was, and most of all, how deadly the disease was, right? Like I would need to know that, right? Who's going to give me those real numbers? Like where are you going to get those real numbers? So since you know no one is going to give you those real numbers, because if the numbers do not benefit the pharmaceutical companies, they're going to bury them, then where are you supposed to get this information that you're going to use to make an informed decision? Okay? That's the point. Okay? That's the point. That is why people who trust the mainstream narratives, they are not clear on how corrupt that system is and how you will never get real information. And so you have to dig a little deeper, like clearly Rogan has, and anybody like me who's read the real Anthony Fauci. Okay, if Callen read the real Anthony Fauci, he would watch this clip back and he would want to throw himself off a bridge.
Smallpox, diphtheria, mumps.
Have you ever looked at
tetanus, polio, paralytic diseases?
Have you ever polio? Please stop.
Yes. No, I won't. I won't. I know you think it's just. I've heard Susan Humphreys.
This is a long conversation that we're not going to have on this podcast because I'm going to get angry because I've researched this for years.
Right.
Let's just.
But you're not a scientist.
I don't have
another mainstream narrative. By the way, you're not a scientist. What? Like you don't need to be a scientist to read studies. Okay. Like you don't. This is what I'm saying. Like every part of Brian's position on this is the exact position that is fed to people through the mainstream media. Exactly. Like absolutely every part of it. Yeah, but you're not a scientist. What does that have to do with anything? Okay. They do that to pigeonhole you into listening to certain scientists who are on their payroll. You really want to play who's like, oh, they're not a scientist? Like, do you have any idea how many scientists were against many of the things that we were dealing with a couple of years ago? Like, do you have any idea how many like well-tenured, like lifetime researchers of that topic, but you don't want to listen to them? I wonder why. Oh, is it because they weren't on the mainstream media, the only thing that you guys look at? It's like, and then, the mainstream media, which is the source that's going to give you that information. Where do they get the majority of their advertising dollars? Oh, right. From the people who benefit from you not getting that information. So I'm sure you're going to get it, right? People, every time I do a video like this, they're like, I love when you talk about this shot. I love when you talk about the shots. I do know a lot about this. It's NFL time, and that means it's time for you to join Prize Picks. I don't understand what's daily fantasy. I'll explain that later. What you need to know right this second is that if you deposit $5 and put it in play, they will guarantee give you a free $50 regardless of whether or not you win with that $5 entry fee. Wait, I deposit $5 and I get $50 back regardless of whether I win. Yes, that's correct. So that'd be a 10x return guaranteed. Yeah, that's correct. So who wouldn't do that? I don't know, man. You tell me. Everybody is doing it. So tell us what else we get aside from $50 free. Well, you get to play the best daily fantasy game on the entire internet. Talk to me like a child and explain to me how to play. PrizePicks could not make this game more simple. You're going to pick which sport you want to play, and then you're going to start picking players that you're going to add to your roster. Then we're going to decide whether they're going to get more or less than the stat line provided by PrizePicks. We're going Shedeur Sanders, and we're going more because we are eternal optimists. Let's say you want to start small and you put $5 in play on your first roster. You can win up to $187.50. But if you're a big baller and you want to put, let's say, $50 in play, you can win up to $1,875. But let's say you are a big wallet gangster and you want to put $500 into a single roster. You can win up to $18,750 if all of your players deliver. Now, we also got some new features coming in with this new football season, and you're going to be able to play the same player up to 3 times with 3 different stat lines if you want. It's already live on Major League Baseball and WNBA. When you go to PrizePicks, you use the link in the description and you sign up and you use promo code JesseOnFire, you are going to get a free $50 once you put $5 in play. Use the link in the description, sign up using promo code JesseOnFire, put in $5 in play, and get your free $50 back. That's a 10x return. You are welcome. I love all of you guys. Let's go.
Have to be a scientist to know that.
Yes, you do.
No, Brian, shut the fuck up. I don't have to be a scientist to read research to understand that they were spraying.
And, by the way, of all people to play the "you're not a scientist" card on, Rogan, really? Rogan, literally his life, he has 3 multiple-hour conversations a week with the most credible people in the world in every different subject. Like, you don't want to play this game with Rogan on basically anything. You know what I mean? It's like Rogan starts talking about like erosion patterns from the 1600s to the 1900s. Like, you don't want to argue with them. You don't want to argue with him unless that is your field of study. If you're just some random person, you're all, you can't say that. You're not a geologist. It's like, I mean, pretty sure he could say that, dude. Okay, I've watched episodes where he was talking about that. Oh, you want to argue about the pyramids? It's like, well, you're not an Egyptianologist. He's like, yeah, I know, you're not either, though. And so, but he probably knows a hell of a lot more than you. Like, that's just like this is the wrong guy to take this stance with, you know?
DDT all over the fucking country when everybody was getting polio. Do you know that?
Yes,
you know
I do.
the first
Yes,
instances of polio, they happened in rural communities where they were all farmland and agriculture, and then cows were getting them, and horses were getting them, and dogs were getting them.
Let me make a statement.
They were calling it paralytic polio.
Do you agree with
to cover up? I mean, and listen, I'm going to be honest with you guys. This was the first I had heard of that. Gabrielle was in the car while we watched this. She's all, that's right. That's right. But like, you know, assuming that what he's saying is accurate, which why would I assume that why would I not assume it's accurate? Then what that means is that the same exact process we were just talking about, where the companies need to come up with a reason for XYZ. Okay, then they go, oh, it's polio. It's definitely not the DDT that we're spraying all over the place that's causing this, because then it would be our fault. You know what I mean?
the following statement? It's not
I'm
just,
not going to do this with you,
but
Brian.
it's not just about.
I brought up
It's
vaccines,
not just
so that'd
about.
be a
Hold
fun
on,
debate.
hold on, Joe.
No,
It's
Brian,
not
I don't want
ju-
to do this with
but
you.
it's not
I don't
just
wanna do this.
about.
We're in
is
the
it-
middle of a fight companion. It's,
All right.
it's annoying.
All right, but it's like, yeah. Being
See,
anti-vax.
but
Being
be- but be-
anti-vax
No
is
one's
irresponsible.
anti-vax,
It's
Brian.
not anti-vax. Questioning why there's so many, though.
My kids are all vaccinated. And they're vaccinated, but they went on a delayed schedule. They delayed
So did mine.
schedule.
Hey, you know why they delayed the schedule? Because he probably did research on the age with which, you know, kids get, like, and we were just talking about this when RFK was on Capitol Hill, and he was talking about how they juked the stats on the research that they did, that if black boys in Atlanta got, I think it was MMR also, got the MMR before they were 3, they had a 260% more likely to get an autism diagnosis than if they waited till after they were 3. Okay, is that an anti-vax position? I'm just, if we're just throwing people into boxes like the mainstream media has fed your brain, like, is that an anti-vax, or is that, hey, the risk of an adverse event is reduced to, it sounds like 0 in terms of that particular thing they were studying if you wait till after they're 3, but if you do it before they're 3, okay, you increase the likelihood 260%. Like, is that anti-vax, or is that just like common sense? It's like, oh, maybe their brains and their bodies or blood barrier is developing, and you should just wait till after they're 3. That's not anti-vax. That's just going into things cautiously, like any smart person would, who is willing to like research and listen, as opposed to just listening to the people who benefit financially from you not listening and just doing exactly what they say.
So did mine. So did
You're
mine.
not? Yeah.
Mine are not. No.
Yeah, good for you. I don't think you need to.
Mine are not.
No, they're healthy as fuck.
Yeah.
Between the two of them, they have 12 touchdowns this week. 2 home runs.
I think the problem.
I literally took a video of me and Gabrielle in the car laughing at that joke because that was so funny. I sent it to Shab. It's like, yeah, my kids are healthy as fuck, dude. 12 touchdowns and 2 home runs this week between them.
Is that the pharmaceutical drug companies have an exemption because of what they did in the 1980s with Reagan, where they allowed them to never worry about being sued. And that's when they ramped up the fucking schedule. And that's also the correlation. When you look at all the fucking host of all sorts of diseases and issues
Just
that
look
start
at
happening to
autism.
kids.
It's through the
Autism
fucking
is just
roof.
one. There's a lot of other autoimmune issues. There's a lot of like serious problems.
I think there are 3 things that have pushed us beyond our biology, and the reason we don't have a lot of children dying: nutrition, sanitation, and vaccines. And I think anybody who says otherwise is, I think it's crazy.
But you can't say all vaccines be.
I didn't say all vaccines.
But,
All right,
but he's not saying all
I get very
vaccines.
worried when
But
people
he's not
start
saying all
saying
vaccines.
It sounds like he is.
Brian,
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Dude, Brian Callen, I guarantee you, is married to a chick who is like hard on this shit. Like, because there's no, like, that's not what he said. Like, that's not what he said. The only way that like you could hear it that way is if you are, like, okay, like no one on their own, no dudes on their own are huge vaccine absolutists on their own. Okay, that means they're married to it. Listen, I'm the exact opposite of that. Okay, like I didn't give a fuck. The fuck do I know about anything? Okay, my kids would probably, I mean, up until the most recent thing that just happened, I probably would have just been like, oh yeah, give them the shots, whatever. Gabrielle's the one who was like, you need to look at this stuff. And I thought she was crazy. And it was just piece by piece by piece by piece. And then it was like, holy shit. That process, by the way, will make you trust no institutions that are involved with anything corporate or the government ever again without like ridiculous scrutiny, because they're such dirty scumbags.
you don't know what the fuck I'm saying. You don't.
Well, I know, because you don't want to talk about it.
Brian, I don't want to talk about it in the middle of a podcast because it'll completely derail the podcast. And I'll start showing you statistics. If you look at when people stop getting all of these diseases, and then when the introduction of vaccines happened, it's at the end, after the disease has already gone through the population. Most of those diseases were eradicated by sanitation and nutrition.
Yes,
There was a
correct.
huge problem in this country. People were living in fucking squalor.
I agree. But there's still pathogens that are very dangerous.
Sure there are. So the problem is that these pharmaceutical drug companies are fucking insanely, entirely corrupt. They have been corrupt for a long
Since their inception. Man, I could send Rogan some documentaries about the Rockefellers and their involvement in the current modern medical system that would blow his mind.
fucking time. And there's a revolving door between the FDA and these pharmaceutical drug corporations. They go from the FDA into these positions. They have this golden parachute, and then they ramp up the fucking schedule every year. And it's not about public health. None of it is about looking out for you. All of it is about making money. That's the problem. Let's get to the bottom.
Boom. I love that guy, dude. I love that guy. And he's right about all of that. All right. So that took 17 minutes. So I'm just going to move over right to this. All right. So check this out. Joe Rogan is under backlash from liberals after saying he believes Michelle Obama has a dick, Pizzagate is real, and that the moon landing was fake. Rogan, quote, I think Michelle Obama's got a dick. I think Pizzagate is around what? But just to, maybe we'll just close off with this little number right here. So in case you guys haven't seen this on my other channel, Gabrielle and I actually covered this on Play With Matches. If you do not follow Play With Matches, come on, dude. The link is in the description. Gabrielle and I covered this because check this out, you guys. Because, for sure, we definitely went to the moon. Like, 100%. We went to the moon. And since we went to the moon in the 60s and 70s, and then, for some reason, just decided not to do it for 60 years, and no one else was able to do it for 60 years. But now that China's talking about doing it, it's like, hang on. We're going back to the moon. And you're like, don't you think that, that should be pretty fucking easy? Yeah. Can you guys think of anything that we technologically solved 60 years ago that is not, as simple as snapping your fingers now? Okay. So listen to this.
I think it's important to be honest, right? And so China's making great leaps in their space program. And it's important to note that their civil and military space program, there's no difference. They're all the same. And as you know, the U.S. comes in peace, right? We want our partners around the world to come together, and we want to win the second space race to the moon. But we know that China wants to get there before us.
It's so ridiculous, dude. It's so ridiculous. Like, you guys, if you still believe we went to the moon, okay, I'm telling you, we didn't, okay? As sure as I have ever been about any conspiracy theory ever in human history, that is the one that I am absolutely certain. I would die on that hill, dude. Like, seriously, if it was like, Jesse, your life depends on this, right? Like, your life depends on you getting this right. If they were like, hey, Jesse, is Pizzagate real? I'd be like, well, what do you mean by Pizzagate? Like, well, do you think that, there's a bunch of shady stuff in the emails? I'd be like, well, okay, what do you ask me? They're all, is Tony Podesta the leader of a satanic cabal that may or may not be sacrificing children? I'd be like, fuck, I don't know. There's a lot of like weird stuff around that. They're all, well, your life depends on it. Yes or no. Okay. In that moment, I would shit myself. Okay. I would be terrified. So I'm like, my life depends on it. They're all, you have to say yes or no. And your life depends on you getting this right. I would be like, oh my God, like I would say yes or no, and I'd be terrified, right? If you were like, your life depends on it, did we actually go to the moon in the 60s and 70s? And were the Apollo missions real, or was it a hoax, a big global psyop that we used to trick the Soviets? In 1 second, I'd be like, nope, we didn't go. And then they'd be like, are you scared? I'd be like, nope, I'm not scared. I am certain that I am right about this, okay? And candidly, if you had seen, anybody who's doubting this, like now they're just saying it out loud. They're like, yeah, it's the second space race and we're going to beat China back to the moon. You're all, what the fuck are you talking about? I thought we did this, right? Like I thought we did this in the 60s and 70s. Like, how is this even a conversation? NASA chief, angry about talk that China will beat the U.S. back to the moon. What are you talking? Beat us back to the moon? We've been there for 60 years, I thought. It says, I can tell you, I'll be damned if that's the story that we write. What are you talking about? How can they beat us to a thing that we did 60 years ago? Okay, they're not even trying to hide the ball. It's like the lie they have to maintain. But if you have a brain, you look at it and you're like, I'm pretty sure they're just admitting that we never went. You're all, yes, that's correct. They are. And if you watch the rest of that clip, towards the later end, he starts acting like we've been there again. And you're like, okay, yeah, but like, no, honestly, I'll finish it for you just in case you guys think I was being like selective with it.
We're not going to let it happen. We hope we can do first part of the year. That is going to be a mission, a 4-man crew that's going to go out and around the moon. Artemis 3 is going to be when we land back on the moon. We're going to stay for a longer period of time.
So they're already planning a mission where you go around the moon and come back without landing. Okay. Why would you do that? We've already got this figured out. We've already done it. Remember, like we had a slingshot around the moon and then we had the stupid lander thing that took off and the fakest looking video of all time. And then we redocked, right? Like, yeah, right here. Here you go. Hey guys, don't worry. Okay. This definitely was not on a soundstage. This definitely really happened.
Port stage, push. Engine arm is S. Okay, I'm going to get the pro. 99, proceeded, 3, 2, 1.
Boom. Oh, yeah. There it is. This is real. This is definitely not a thing that's on a string on a soundstage. Nope. Yep, that's space. It's going up to space, guys. Yep. And who's filming that exactly? What? I don't know. Like, it looks like someone is, moving a camera and making it go. That's supposedly all of the astronauts that are going back to dock with the shuttle that just slingshot it around the moon. And then we're going to dock and then go home. Right? Right? Fucking ridiculous, dude. Anyway, that's what I got. I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel. Ring the bell. But ooh, body. Look at this. All right, look at this. By the way, if you guys ever really want to, look at something kind of interesting, this is the Apollo 11 moon landing hoax or history body language analysis. This is of that press conference right after they got back from the moon, right? Got back from the moon. And I've always said, I'm like, you don't need to be an expert to know these guys are lying. Okay. Let's just see what they say. If we are not told these three just walked to the moon, or they gave the vibe that they just went to a funeral. Yes. Yeah, no joy, triumph. They remind me of 3 teenage boys who are in deep trouble. Yes, every single person. I mean, you have like one. You don't need to be small, like really emotionally intelligent to be able to pick that out in that video. But anyway, that's what I got. Love you guys. Bye bye.